So Muskie Hans out on Ute Lake having some technical difficulties, and he just caught this white bass on a flicker minnow. We caught another fish. This one was a hit when we were letting out the leg core. I'm throwing leg core on one line and flat lining with another line to try to have a bait closer to bottom and a bait higher up to catch whatever bites. And each rod's caught a fish so far. This one I was letting it out when it hit though. Muskie Hans is fighting a fish. It's super windy out. We're anchored. Some people said they were catching crappie by here in like 20 feet of water, but I only have about one anchor and I keep moving between about 10 feet and 25 feet. We're hooked up with a good fish. I think it is what I think it was though. We better get the, what brand of net is this even? I've done a couple reviews for them. This is some cheap Chinese net. This is a fighter. This is a good fight on 6-pound line. Oh, it's a Paiscus carpus. No wonder why it's fighting so much. Goddamn carp. You know what, carp? We need to take a sip together. You can get some truly carp. So here's what I thought that carp was. I thought it was like a 14 or 15 inch smell. It was fighting like one of those, wasn't jumping. I caught this one in a really small one. I caught this one on a swim bait, and I caught a small one on a worm. The same setup I caught the carp on. We also caught another wonderful fish. We call this the green SIHT fish in my inappropriate fish names. This might make some good catfish bait though. We caught a walleye on the best walleye rod ever. It's an 8-foot whooping stick with either 30 or 40 pound braid, and we caught this giant walleye on a flicker minnow. We just caught this on the flicker shad while I was handling that walleye. We got a fish on. Oh, it's a little smallmouth bass. We better take a picture of this for fish brain. We just caught this chunky crappie. It's not a big one, but it's fat. It must be eating a lot. We are riding waves back in. It's getting really rough out here. As we head farther east in the lake, the waves just keep getting worse and worse. At least along this point of Old Daddy is. I should have came in sooner. So Muskie Hans is out fishing. It's super windy out, and I don't know, my motor wasn't big motor wasn't wanting to start up, so I just came in this little bay by where I'm gonna camp, and we're having some western sun and we're fishing. Some South Texas prickly pear vodka. You might as well go eat a prickly pear up on top of this hill. Muskie Hans is fishing something that's feeling great. What is this? Another smallie or is it a white bass? Where's the kitty? It's staying down on the bottom, but it's fighting like it's good size. Oh, it's a nice smallie. Probably like a 16-inch smallie. We caught a giant. That is quite the giant walleye. Muskie Hans is hooked up. I think it's a white bass. Yeah, it's a white bass. And we're getting my plus C odds pro net. Oh, it's stuck in there. I guess we'll just have to launch it up. That is a big white bass. It's windy out again. I tried anchoring in one spot and all I got was snakes, so then I decided to come to a windswept point and I'm just casting off bait. And I started off with this smallie. We just caught another smallie. The smallies must be biting. We got another Mr. Smallie. Let me get the net and land it. Like a 15-incher. Decent one. We got another Smallie. There's probably like a 16-incher. Get the odds pro out. And we got the Smallie. This is not a smallie. We got ourselves a nice Marana day. Let's see what Muskie Hans has. Oh, you're getting tangled and stuff. Don't tangle me up in the rope, Mr. Bassy Lassie. On the ice rod. I don't even know why I have this ice rod in this boat, but about a 12 or 14-inch smallmouth bass. I've been trying to throw Senkos and hook up again. For some reason, these smallies aren't wanting to hit lures, but they're crushing live bait. It's so windy, it's next to impossible to fish, but we caught another smallie. We've caught a lot of smallies today. So this last weekend I went fishing at Ute Lake. It was extremely windy out. Like there was like 30-mile-an-hour winds every afternoon, and even in the morning there was like 15-mile-an-hour winds. The one morning I didn't get out fishing till like 9:30 though, because I drove to one side of the lake, then drove like 30 miles and stopped and got bait and so forth, and took me a while. But anyways, the first night I caught, I think like 2 bass, 1 or 2 walleyes and 2 white bass and a carp and a sunfish. The second day I think I ended up catching like 5 bass and 5 walleyes, a couple white bass and a crappie and a couple green sunfish. And then the last day I only fished for like 3 or 4 hours, but I caught a whole bunch of smallies and 1 white bass. But I ended up just taking my boat to windswept points, which was a pattern I finally figured out. That's where the smallies were hanging out, and a few white bass and walleyes. And all the fish I caught most of the fish I caught were in like 5 feet of water. They did not seem to. I caught a few of the white bass out deeper, but pretty much, and the 1 crappie, but pretty much everything else I caught was up shallow. So the water temp I think was 65 degrees, but a lot of the bait must be up shallow or something. The fish I cleaned, they had crayfish in them, so they're probably up shallow eating crayfish in the rocks, but that could be right. It was my first time fishing this lake. I'll probably go back to here one of these weekends. I bought a New Mexico fishing line, so I'll probably be going over there fishing quite a few times and to some other lakes, so I guess just stay tuned for whatever videos I post.